Hello, welcome to the Madison podcast. You know my name. If you don't know my name, you should call me and apologize. It's Ben Lavender, New York's favorite British mortgage broker, with another cool guest, and I will allow this man to introduce himself. Kyle, tell us, the audience rather, who you are, why you are so cool, but not as cool as me, because again, that's not possible.
Clearly.
But yeah, who you are, what you do, and all that jazz, and then we'll jump into some fun stuff.
Absolutely. So hello, folks. I am Agent Kyle Cheng of Remax City Square. I am a marketing director, brand strategist, and a licensed real estate salesperson. And as stated before, I'm clearly not as cool as Ben Lavender.
But by the end of this podcast, perhaps you will change my mind.
That's right.
And you will exceed me in coolness. So wait, you have 3 jobs technically. Positions.
Sure.
Okay, go over them one more time, please.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But for MLS and whoever else is actually listening, they're not real titles. I made them up.
Yeah. Most people do. Yeah.
So, marketing director. So the Remax City Square kind of group, as I call it now, we've expanded from a small mom and pop shop in Forest Hills that was started maybe 5 years ago. I joined 4 years ago. We franchised into Remax 2 years ago, and from that expanded into 4 other offices that are out there. So we started in Forest Hills. We acquired an office in East Meadow, New York, one in Long Beach, New York, that we franchised into Remax, a office in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn. That was a long-standing relationship with our principal broker, William Levin, and as of September of last year, we joined forces with the Remax team over in Jackson Heights. So those are the 5 offices there.
That's a lot of expansion in a short amount of time.
In a very short amount of time. I mean, I like to think of Ryan Serhant's beautiful quote, expansion always and always. And
I like that. I've never heard him say that.
Never heard him say that? Yeah.
So I like him a lot. Sometimes he rubs me the wrong way. Not because, and you never should hate on someone who's successful or someone that you could learn from. But just sometimes when he says some things, he's just you know what it is? He's so intense all the time.
Yes.
And sometimes I just want to grab him and be like, Ryan, relax. But that's just, I guess it's who he has to be online.
No,
right?
yeah.
That makes sense.
And I mean, more power to him. He's literally everywhere. He's everywhere.
He's an absolute animal, just freak of nature. And I mean that in a good way, of course. I was at an event, a mortgage event actually, and he was one of the speakers a few years ago, and he was absolutely fantastic.
Right.
Great storyteller, super funny, very engaging, and he's just a high effort human being. It's admirable, but again, he's the best or one of the best, right? So it's obvious that's why he is where he is.
Yeah.
So what was the quote again? Expansion always.
Oh yeah, so it's expansion always in all ways. So that's his general idea there. And expansion can always be really scary, but it obviously breeds incredible opportunity. So now we went from, an office of maybe 20 to 30 agents to we have 130 plus right now, which is very large scale for any kind of real estate office. But what's nice is it is 5 different locations, and they all have their own sort of identity. So that's where a brand strategist kind of comes in, and that's another portion of my kind of duty.
So let's expand on that. What do you actually do as a brand strategist? Because for me, from a real estate perspective or for a real estate brokerage, I've never really heard of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I like to quote and reference things as you know. So there's another gentleman named Chris Doe who runs a company called The Future, and he himself is kind of like a marketing guru, brand strategist as well. And something that he posted on Instagram the other day, it actually says that a brand is actually the feeling people get when they either work or buy a product from you. So, there's this very familiar looking check mark in the world that is the trademark of Nike, of course, but that's not their brand. The feeling of purchasing Nike sneakers, Nike clothing, that's the brand. And that's it's
a good point.
Yeah.
Because it does have a very specific feeling. Yeah,
right?
You're right.
Exactly. So similar to working with a Remax agent or working with one of the agents in our office, I want to help them develop an idea of finding their audience, finding their voice as agents, because I think right now in our very kind of crowded space, there are a lot of real estate agents. There's a lot of different real estate companies. There's a lot of different mortgage companies that you could work with. However, the feeling of working with one of us is kind of what we're striving for. So I'm helping them identify that, because I feel I've identified that in my business and, through the social media content that I put out. My kind of ability to identify exactly who I want to be talking to, who I want to hear my message, is kind of where I'm at now.
So to kind of test you on that, what feeling is that at least for you, that you feel that your clients get
absolutely
after working with you?
Sure, absolutely. So the feeling that they get after working with me from a real estate perspective is that you've got a friend in me, right? I want to be the Woody and the Buzz to their Andy. I want to be that kind of presence that doesn't have to be looked at, that doesn't have to be kind of played with or anything in that manner, but I'm always there, and I'm always there to support whatever they want to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
As you're saying that, I'm just thinking of what is mine. And the first thing that comes to mind is probably reliability.
Yeah.
So I have to find a way to double down on that. But it isn't about me, it's about you guys. But thank you just gave me some ideas. Okay, so here's the other piece, right? How, and again, I'm asking selfishly and also for the audience, but how do you help your team members, your agents, find that feeling?
So the first thing that I do is I schedule an hour one-on-one meeting with them, and we go over the kind of first layer. We take a look at their digital presence. We take a look at the work that they've done already. And it's sometimes tough because I'm dealing with agents sometimes that have been doing this for 25, 30 years.
We don't need no social media. It's okay.
But
it's just a fad.
Yeah, that's fine, And I tell them, like, hey, look at all the videos and stuff that I'm doing, all of this stuff. You don't have to do any of it. You can go ahead and you can post pictures of your cats, your dogs, your food that you're eating, whatever you want to do. But let's take kind of the strategies and things that you were doing, maybe give it a 21st century twist to it, right? So a lot of them keep a list of names in books and on papers. I'm like, okay, let's move that to an Excel spreadsheet. Yeah. Let's put that into a CRM. This way, you don't have to run through the pages every so often. Maybe you just get a notification here and there to reach out to this person to remind you to do this, right? Let's look at the charitable events that you, or charities that you kind of give to. All right, great. This looks like some sort of partnerships that we can form here. Let's do events that are surrounded around this charity.
So you're giving them ideas as well on how to expand.
No, of course.
Increase their network ability.
Absolutely.
Which I feel a lot of people, I mean, it's one of the beauties of social media, right? Is that it's a great way of staying top of mind.
Absolutely.
It's so easy, but if someone doesn't want to do it, you can't really make them, but it's more efficient. Have you successfully sold an agent that doesn't want to do social on doing it? Have you had them turn the corner? Oh yeah,
absolutely. So I've had one pretty veteran agent, maybe 12, 13 years in the business. They did one quick video with me as kind of the director behind the camera. We have a videographer on staff now as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I've brought that idea in, that we need someone here that not only does our real estate photography, but we need someone here that's going to help us with content creation, editing, and then helping us kind of put it out there as well. So we did one video maybe at a certain point, and it was a long time coming. Then due to my effort, she came to me and said, hey, I have 30 video ideas written down. I want to sit down one day and try to bust out as many as we can. We ended up.
So she comes up with the ideas, or you do?
She came up with the idea. So basically, I will present a list. I have a master list of 50 plus videos that real estate agents can be doing at any time, talking about it at any time, and they're going to range anywhere from reasons to live in X neighborhood. What is, the mortgage rates right now? What do you do when you're getting ready to buy? What do you do when you're getting ready to sell? All of that, right? And then if they come up with any kind of ideas that are either specialized to them as a real estate agent or them as a member of a community, I help them kind of supervise the script, and then I'll be there on the day to kind of help them with camera technique, teach them about framing, teach them about where their eye focus is going to be, stuff like that.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's really cool. Okay, I think at this point, Kyle, you're cooler than me. You have surpassed me.
Nice.
We'll give you that.
That was
title.
quick. I like it.
It was very quick. That's impressive. That's really cool. I've never heard of that. You know, like an in-house, not just a content creator, but someone to like help and refine ideas and expand on that. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Great.
And this is another selfish kind of question. Is that what I'm finding is in our business, obviously it's great that everyone's doing video marketing, right? And maybe the perspective is a little bit different for us because the majority of the people that is on my Instagram, on my Facebook, they're people in the business, whether they're realtors, they're other loan officers, home inspectors, etc. My entire feed is just people giving random real estate advice, which is great. The only problem is that it's starting to all look the same.
Sure.
Everyone is doing like the same angle with the captions, the focus, the color backgrounds. I'm even like trying to figure out how I can visually make it a little bit different. So the question really is if you do it all, do you like try and help them figure out how to stand out, how to not look the same, whether that's maybe a quirky thing individually with their personality that you double down on, or just a different way of framing the cameras?
Sure, absolutely. So for yourselves or any other kind of creator that's looking for a way to kind of stand out a little bit different, you have to think about the mediums that people are actually watching you on. So if you're making something that's designed for YouTube, you want to have a still frame thumbnail that looks really different, that either kind of super focuses on you or super focuses maybe on the subject that you're talking about. If it's an Instagram, Facebook kind of mobile thing, then you have to start getting into pattern interrupts. So what pattern interrupts are is, either a quick movement or like, hey, having your hand over the camera and then removing it quickly and having your face there. Yeah. Something like that interrupts the scroll.
How often during the video should there be an additional one, like a change of frame or like the camera shake, whatever?
Sure, absolutely. So studies will tell you that you want to have a kind of shift almost every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Which is nuts, right? Insane. But and to go into how crazy that I consume content, I saw on a video itself why things like Cocomelon are so like addictive to children. It's actually not the songs, it's not the themes, it's colors, it's their camera shifts, it's their frames. So they change the frame every 2 to 3 seconds. Whether it's, and when you think of a cartoon, you don't think of like camera angles and stuff like that, right? But if you watch it, because I watch it all the time, I have 2 children, so you'll see it. Like, it'll be a scene in the kitchen, and then suddenly it's behind them, and then suddenly it's to the left of them, suddenly it's to the right, suddenly it's from the perspective of the child eating, They have thought about this because they get it from television. They get it from, sitcoms. Watch Friends, You'll notice that it's never just a single camera. There's always 3 or 4 cameras, and they switch between the different cameras to give that kind of feeling of conversation.
Gotcha. What do you think about the long-term effects of that? I think it's terrible. I just think we all have ADHD. We can't focus for more than a second. Like, I'll give you a really simple example. One of my favorite movies of all time is The Matrix, or the trilogy of The Matrix. And what is shocking to most people is that the third movie, which is everyone's least favorite,
is yours
probably my favorite. And then the first, then the second. And the second is, a lot of people like that one. But a small thing that I noticed, if you just look at the fight scenes, for instance, because I was sick about 3 weeks ago, so I watched all the Matrix movies in one day. With the exception of the fourth, which I watched maybe a year ago.
I forgot there was a fourth one.
Yeah, we try and forget that one. Doesn't count. But a small thing I noticed, or it's a big thing, is that in, for instance, the fight scenes, it would stay on the actual scene for a good, the same camera angle for a good 10 seconds. And it's visually it's nicer to look at, whereas like the newer one, the fourth movie, it changes every 2 seconds. So for instance, if you compare like the scene of when he's in the dojo with Morpheus and fake Morpheus.
Sure.
It changes every 2 seconds. It's so frustrating to even watch. I like visually, I absolutely hated it. And forget the movie itself. The movie sucked. But
that's the fourth one you're talking about.
Yeah,
I thought the first one, because they're also in a dojo in the first one.
Yeah,
Real
but
Morpheus.
what I'm saying is comparing the first dojo one with the fourth dojo one. When the first one,
the guy who was Candyman. That's all I know him as.
He's a great actor. That guy is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I just think it's our attention spans are going lower and lower, and I'm thinking like because we can't picture where social media will be in 10 years from now.
Right.
And 5 years ago, I was doing more longer form social media content, which is really kind of how I got my name out in the business. And my videos used to be like a good 90 seconds to 2 minutes long, and a lot of people would watch them all the way through. Now my videos are like 30, 45 seconds, absolute maximum. I try and keep them under 10 if possible.
Sure.
Tyler knows I have difficulty doing that. And it's like our attention spans are just getting lower and lower and lower. And if it keeps going this way, where's it going to be in 10 years? What are we going to do? Consume content for a second and a half using Elon Musk's brain chip to like visually like see it in our eyes, but no one else sees it. It's crazy. Like I can't even imagine like where we're going to be.
Right. So I would recommend to you is avoid even trying to imagine what that's going to look like, because it's going to give you anxiety now that you have to make your things shorter and shorter and shorter. I say make the content that you want to put out as long as you feel that there expresses some sort of value, right, for your audience, anybody who it is, whether it's first-time home buyers, whether it's people looking to buy second homes. You got to think about every single video as being a different person that you're speaking to.
True.
Once you do that, then you can start doing the things like, having a good hook in the beginning of your video, the wording on the title of the screen that first comes up, whether it slides in, whether it's already there so that people can see it on the actual feed or on the thumbnail that they see it, etc. That is it. People's attention span, yes, is about 3 seconds, but that's why it's also like you want to try to capture that attention within the first 3 seconds of your video. If you can do that, I say that there's probably about 70 to like 80% chance that they're going to see your whole video through.
That's huge.
And then also, if you keep them shorter, that means that they've probably missed something, and they're going to watch it again, and then again, and watch it again.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I feel we do that. We do that, and a lot of
you
people
do.
are doing it. It's just how to make it better. How to make it better when everyone is doing it. But at the end of the day, so actually, here's another question for your agents that you're advising. How are you advising them to market to the audience? What I'm saying is like, do you just have them like add their sphere and market to their sphere, or are you telling them to branch out, make friends with people in another area or a specific neighborhood that they're farming in? How do you typically advise them on finding the audience essentially to market to?
Absolutely. And I think it starts with almost any kind of prospecting gig. Yeah, you absolutely start with your sphere of influence first. You start with the people that already like and trust you and know you, and then you branch out. And the way that you branch out is by using the tools that are already built into the apps for you, whether it be trending audios. If you can check actually to see how many people have used that audio on a reel or on a video, and this way it gives you a base point of where it is. Another thing that I've been putting in that's been really helpful to me is I throw in a lot of pop culture references. Like I'll start a video out that is a video of like Lady Gaga saying something that has nothing to do with real estate, remix it to put it into my face after it to put into that.
Smart.
That video got 20,000 views.
Awesome.
It's cool.
Nicely done. So you pick up on these little tricks, and I suppose that's like why you consume so much content. It's part of your job, so you have to recognize what's trending and kind of be ahead of the game, right?
Yeah, my wife will completely disagree, but I call it research. It's probably not.
It's a little bit of
but honestly,
scrolling.
But I tell anybody that is looking to get into kind of having a more concrete strategy in terms of content creation or video marketing consume about 10 to 15 minutes a day.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, 10 to 15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes.
Most people probably consume like 4 hours a day automatically. So
3. Average is 3 hours
3.
a day spending on social media apps alone.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a tremendous amount.
Exactly.
Insane. Okay.
It's a lot of opportunity. It's a lot of time to catch people's eyeballs, especially when attention is so short.
That's a good way. That's a good way of reframing it. So, a kind of off subject, but you have a lot of jobs essentially, or functions in real estate. You have 2 kids, you're married. How do you balance all that? Or do you not balance it? It's just like you got a good system.
It's a circle. It's not a balance. It's a wheel that just keeps spinning. So you either run as fast as possible on one part of it, then you slow down the wheel and you see where it kind of picks up. That's where I kind of see it. I literally just made that up. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is tough for sure. It's definitely something that, especially shifting into this kind of role, I am more of a kind of office guy. And now because we have 5 offices, I try to be present as much as I can. So I visit all the offices as well.
Just going to say, you're doing each one like once a day each week.
Exactly. Something like that, and now because we have such a robust group, we're doing weekly trainings in almost all of the offices. I try to be present there because then it gets me in front of the agents, and then I'm there ready to answer any kind of questions that they have, because communication is definitely one of my better skills, but starting it definitely isn't. So making sure that I'm present and being seen is a really big part of my business.
Yeah, which is also the truth for the agents and the loan officers as well. We have to be in front of as many people as often as possible. So you basically at each office each week as much as you can be. I'm sure you have to balance it with people shooting content and advising. So that's a tremendous amount. I want to go back actually, Carlos, to how did you get into the real estate business in general?
Sure.
What made you get into it, and then how did you dive into social?
Yeah.
Because there's something usually I've noticed even for myself, like there was a specific event that triggered it. So, I'd like to know what it was for you.
Cool, sure. So, in terms of real estate, I've been in it for 7 years. The nice way I like to frame the story of how I got into real estate is that it was by accident and by force.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So, by accident is because my father was kind of like a in-the-closet real estate investor for most of our lives.
Interesting.
Starting from the age of 11 when he sold our family home, moved us into another home, then 2 years later mysteriously decided to sell it again.
I see.
And then 4 years later we sold our next house until my mother said, I'm not moving anymore.
I see.
And later in life I figured it out that's because he was avoiding capital gains tax.
Got it.
Because he figured it out that he could get an X amount of gain tax free, and was like, okay, then I'll just sell it.
And
I'll just sell it for.
It made sense at the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely, of course. Appreciating asset. Yeah. Right. So then, after my college years, after renting a house with friends near my alma mater, my father was like, oh, you're paying X amount of dollars per room. I'm sure other people are doing that too. Why don't I get into this game? So then he started buying rental properties. And I was kind of helping him manage that a little bit. And so then fast forward to around 2014, 2015, after I've gotten engaged to my now wife, we're planning our wedding and we're both unemployed. We both got laid off from our jobs, but, so we're planning a wedding. And guys, planning a wedding when you're unemployed is definitely the best idea ever, because you just get all these lofty ideas.
Nice.
And you have time to explore them.
Yeah.
Honestly, we went to 20 different wedding venues to explore because we had the time to do it.
Yeah.
And obviously we went with the first one that we went to, not the 19 other ones that we took and visited. But at that time, similar to other people's stories, I was watching a ton of HGTV. I was, shadowing my father at different properties. I really, really got into $1 Million Listing at that time. I think it was probably like 2 or 3 years into their kind of infancy at that point. And then my wife was just like, hey, you watch all this real estate TV, you talk about real estate, you've lived in New York your entire life. Why don't you get into real estate? Better yet, I'll get my license with you.
Really?
And so then it was a challenge for me because I wanted to beat her on the test because she's like a hardcore studier and like will like memorize the textbook before anybody else, and I'm not a studier. So I kind of winged it and I passed. She failed on her first try. I think.
Oh, you don't have to say that on camera, man. She's going to get you for that. Yeah, that's
it's all right. She's not going to watch this.
Yeah, we'll cut it out. We'll cut it out. Yeah.
But yeah, that was it really. And then that was 7 years ago. And then, so if we can, I'll go right into the next part.
Yeah.
Sure. So why did I start heavily kind of investing in social? So, I mean, my relationship with Facebook was probably similar to other people. Like, it was created in 2005, right before I went into college. And so I waited. I was in high school being like, yeah, when I get into college, I'm going to have a Facebook like my brother and like my sister. Yeah. It's going to be cool. I'm going to be able to connect to all these people.
Is so cool.
I know, right? So like, yeah. And then, I have it and it just becomes this thing where it's like, okay, yeah, it's fun. We can connect with people. Oh, Instagram, cool. I could put a couple pictures here and there. And then it's 2020 and the world shuts down. And the very first Zoom class that we have is this woman, I believe her name is Andy Reyes. She's an Instagram coach. And she's like giving us tips and, letting us know about how we can start integrating Instagram into our business. And I was just like, yeah, I already created like Agent Kyle Cheng, my page. I had maybe 250 followers. I posted every so often of a property I sold, etc. And I was thinking about it all the wrong way. And when she was like, yeah, combine your personal and your business together, I was like, light bulb, cool, why not? So then I was like, okay, I'm going to really get into this. I'm going to really get into this because at that time, like TikTok was crazy. So I had a TikTok account too, which I wasn't exactly sure how to use yet. And then Reels kind of started coming in. And then I was like, okay, I get it now. Like I can take my personality, I can blow it up by 20 and put it into these, what I like to call them, I don't call them posts. I call them little commercials. Every single post, every single video I do is a commercial about me. And that's how I think about it.
When you say a commercial about you, you mean like it's a representation of your brand, it's a reminder, it's marketing.
Yeah.
But do you have like a specific call to action?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So every single post I always end with, need to know the state of your real estate? Simply call your agent. That's me, Agent Kyle Cheng.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So you do have one, at the end of one.
Every
one.
Simply call your agent. Almost every video I end that with, or every post has it at the bottom. Need to know the state of your real estate? Simply call your agent. ... Phone emoji goes ... Emoji for me, Kyle Cheng. Emoji for a phone, my phone number. Emoji for an email, my email address. Every single one.
Nice. We're taking notes here.
Yeah,
okay,
sure.
So you basically went ham during COVID.
Yeah.
Right, which is not surprising. I mean, a lot of people tried. Obviously, you did it very, very well. So we're almost out of time, Kyle.
Oh, sure.
But before we go, where do you think, and I know you said specifically before not to worry about it, but just, entertain me.
Yeah.
Right, where do you think social media is going? What will it do for our business over the next 3 to 5 years? Do you think it's do or die, meaning people have to use it or their business is going to die, or it's just like another tool? Or how do you think it's going to evolve and change?
Sure, absolutely. So if it goes the way that I see it, yeah, it is already, in my opinion, a do or die. I think that if you're not on Instagram, if you're not on Facebook, if you don't have any kind of presence, or Google, if people can't type in your name /real estate /mortgages online and they can't find you at all, you're gone. You no longer exist in the realm of that business. Not even the world. Sure, you exist in the world. Lots of people exist in the world. But if you want to exist in your business and you want people to know exactly what you do, you have to have a form of online presence. And I think that, the way that Facebook is growing and Meta is kind of bringing in this whole idea of an artificial world that, it is crazy. You're absolutely right. But it is what the world is going to look like 10, 15, maybe 20 years from now. So if we get comfortable with that idea and know that it's still human at heart, that there's still a presence and we have an ability to leave a mark on it somehow, some way, once we start focusing on that, it becomes less scary.
I think that's beautiful because most people are intimidated, especially like with what's called chat GPT, is it?
Oh, yeah.
With like an AI.
Which I think is amazing. I want to use that.
Yeah.
Or
cool.
Jasper, any of those like AI tools. Why
haven't
not?
tried it yet, but I think when most people, especially in our business, see it, it's a little bit scary. But I think we have a lot of protection from it as well, because as what you said is, like, that cannot give people a feeling.
Right.
It's not really a brand in what it does. Like I think I saw something the other day. It passed the bar exam or something.
Cool.
I don't know if that's true, but
listen, what's the number one kind of question most agents, lenders kind of ask about in terms of social media? The number one question is, what do I say?
Oh, that's easy.
What do I do, right?
To me it is.
Well, then there you go. You type in a question, you type in a phrase into this AI, and it pumps out 20 or 30 suggestions for you.
Crazy. So we could use it actually.
Yeah.
And if anything, it would just help us.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle, any final words of wisdom or sign off, awesome quote, or you could flip off the camera, whatever you want to do, man.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Well, I won't flip off the camera because now I'm officially cooler than Ben.
Yeah,
I don't want to ruin that. Absolutely. All I got to say is if you happen to need to know the state of your real estate, simply call your agent, Agent Kyle Cheng. Number's 516-983-3250. And then after that, call your mom. She misses you.
That's great. Kyle, thanks, man.
Thank you.